And that, I believe, is the crucial difference between Liberland and Christiania. Liberland people have anywhere else to be. Like anywhere. They can go anywhere in the world. And they will be welcomed with open arms. They just can't have their rule of government. As long as they pay taxes, they're allowed to be there. Because they have the dough for it. That's why they won't be squatting on Liberland for decades in order to make it legitimate. The squatters in Christiania, on the other hand, had nowhere else to be. So where else would they squat? Where else would they live? So they stayed. And they always came back. No matter how many times they tried to throw them out, they always came back. A month ago, let's see, where is... let's look at how Bitcoin is doing at the moment. Okay, it's gone up. It's gone up. Oh, this is 1 day. Let's see here. 6 months. Oh boy, has it crashed. Oh boy. 50%. And the last month, okay, it's gone up. It's gone up. That's disappointing. Because a month ago, this video was released. The new wave of crypto colonialism from Vice. I honestly don't know what it's about. But it looks like it's about the nations, the crypto nations, the pedo islands. Oh, sorry, I didn't cough there. And I thought it would be fun to watch, to react to. Let me just fix my camera. Who keeps wanting to sag. And I'm not a fucking child. I'm still a child. I have a new chair that I'm buying. Because this chair, I can't. It doesn't stick. It's an old chair. It's really beat up. So that's why I'm always lying down in my chair, and I hate it. I want to be able to sit upright at some points. So I'm getting a new chair finally. Crypto colonialism, you mean Cryptoland? I'm guessing so. Let's see what they have to say. Let's see what Vice has done with this video.
Liberland, I'm Christiania Andavolu. Today, it's all about the blockchain utopia. A lot of early adopters of crypto are getting really rich. But for diehards, crypto is about more than making money. It's an idea that today...
Okay, I'm sorry for pausing so early. 2011, I believe, maybe early... No, 2011. It has to be 2011. I read an article about crypto, about Bitcoin. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Bitcoin max. You can see here. Was it that late? No. Why can't we see earlier? Bitcoin price 2010. Why is it not? Reject. So I didn't, not 2010, but I believe 2011 but it's not going to be far off. Because it had as you can see, it had a really slow start. But around 2011, 2010, 2011, sometime there, I read an article about Bitcoin. And I had $20 in my pocket for the rest of the month. And I thought, should I put it in crypto? Nah, I want a beer. I want to go out drinking this weekend. That's what I thought. I wanted to go out drinking. So did I invest in crypto? No. I mean, I could have had a boatload of money by now. Or, more likely, I would have sold it all when it was worth, what, $1,000, $10,000? That would have been a good investment. Or I could have just held it and I could have had $1 million. But I probably wouldn't have had that. Even likelier, I might even have forgotten. Would have forgotten the password to the wallet, or got scammed, or whatever. But still, I read about it and I thought about investing in 2011. Boy, would I have been rich.
Today's governments should stay out of regulating currencies, and it's a way for some of them to build their own governments. Vice's Matthew Castle headed to Eastern Europe to check out the third annual Floating Man Festival, where a group of utopians have gathered to make their dreams come true on the Danube.
Oh, that's gonna be an insufferable place to be.
I'm honored, that we can have this ceremony. I think this is a great step towards building of Liberland. That's what we are here for. And I think it's not just about building physical place, but it's also a spiritual thing, actually.
This ceremony is celebrating a nation that the rest of the world doesn't acknowledge as real. But for everyone here, it's not only real, it represents the future of their shared interests, libertarianism and cryptocurrency. And this fire is part of a whole festival dedicated to it.
So may this seal the success of this festival, and may this be the first bigger event that will grow every year.
Why are they? Yeah, terrifying. Jesus, why are they aping native symbolism like this? Like it's really sad. They are trying hard to be seen as a legitimate country with history and culture, and when all it is, as soon as the moment they would be legitimized, the moment that happened, all of this would be dropped. All of it. There would be no more spiritualism, because that's all just a facade. That's not what they're interested in at all. Like, there would still be some people who would keep going to the festival every year, but they would be seen as old and sad. The struggling for an identity. The new people who would arrive with a few millions in their pockets from crypto, they wouldn't care, because that's not why they're there. They're there to fuck babies. And you know it. Floating Man.
Come and join us for a great party on the beaches of Liberland.
By the way, didn't Liberland just tank?
We're here in Serbia, just next to the border with
Wait.
Croatia, where
that
preparations
it?
are underway for the third annual Floating
that
Man
it?
Festival. It's being attended by libertarians and crypto enthusiasts from all over the world who've come here to discuss the future of a small, disputed, and uninhabited piece of land that they call Liberland. This region used to be one country, Yugoslavia, but when it broke apart in the 1990s, a tiny island slipped through the cracks and was left unclaimed. In 2015, a Czech citizen named Vityadlika planted a flag on the island and declared it a new independent nation, Liberland. Can you give us a sense of what this festival is all about?
I think it's really to focus
Yeah,
on
Russia
the
can have this
basics
one.
of Liberland.
This is where Putin would escape to. They would give Putin a citizenship visa.
Institutional debate, the blockchain governance,
Visum.
the local
Visa.
settlement to get Liberland working as a state. That's the main purpose.
But what's the common denominator among the people here? What makes a Liberlander a Liberlander?
People that believe in freedom and they want to start something new. They're kind of fed up with the existing systems. They understand that it's much easier to actually start new things than to fix anything in the existing political system.
People from anywhere in the world can apply for citizenship on Liberland's website and can come here to share their hottest takes on vaccines, taxes, and of course, crypto.
Today, I'll be the charlatan presenting crazy anarchist shit, and I'll be explaining why I like dark markets and what is crypto anarchy and how you can use it in daily life and how I believe it's bringing us freedom. We don't.
Of course. I mean, it's just the merger of cryptocurrency and libertarianism and anti-vax, it's all so fucking idiotic, but also obvious. If you want an anarchist state that actually functions, the only one I can think of is Christiania in Denmark. Because that's existed for close to 50 years by now. These people want to build some sort of government with libertarianism. I don't understand how they can claim to be a country and also be libertarians. It's an oxymoron.
Really have diseases. The body is functioning for our protection.
Oh my god. What's this bitch doing? And everyone's just, what? Is it a competition of some sort?
As excited as its citizens might be, Liberland's future as an actual country is extremely uncertain. Something that hasn't stopped people like Zuzana Ushnarova, a Bitcoin miner who wants to be a Liberland ambassador one day.
How much do you have to pay to be a Liberland ambassador? Like how many millions do you have to pay to the government to be a Liberland ambassador?
For you and many others here, Liberland is a dream, but it's just that, it's very far away from becoming a recognized state.
For you, it's just a dream, but for me, it's real. I know we want to change the world and we want to change something.
How do you want to change the world?
We would like to build maybe new Dubai here. Maybe more than Dubai. Maybe we will build something like you will transfer us to the orbit directly from here. So my dream is to have.
Oh my god, they are so delusional. Oh my god. They want to build a skyscraper in space. Isn't that what she said?
Transfer us to the orbit directly.
Yeah, to the orbit. Oh my god. She actually believes it. Oh my god. Theoretically, and it's highly theoretical. You can have a geostationary orbit for a building which hovers in space. Theoretically, there is zero possibility of it being feasible in the next 1,000 years in the way that technology is going at the moment. Jesus, if you want to make Stonerland, it already exists. Like I said, it's called Christiania. Look it up. I have a video on it, don't I? Don't I? Oh, maybe I can juxtapose it to this. I don't have a video on it, it seems. Okay, yeah, I can. I'll talk about Christiania after we've watched this video. Christiania is very interesting place. After this, we'll talk about an actually successful anarchist state.
So my dream is to have a hotel in the orbit, and everything will be paid by Bitcoin. So
A hotel in the orbit.
it's nice dream, and it will happen. I promise you.
Do you think you have to be
It will not happen. Not even close. Fuck you.
a little bit crazy to be a citizen of Liberland?
We are all crazy, I think. So.
Yeah, you are.
Liberland proudly states it wasn't founded with force, but it was founded with quite a bit of financial backing. Specifically from people who made fortunes on early Bitcoin investments. So the plan is to use crypto for everything in Liberland. Hello. I would like a coffee, please.
Yeah, we are cryptocurrency only coffee.
Okay.
We accept Bitcoin on Lightning or Litecoin or Monero. We don't accept currency that is imposed by the state, and we accept currency that is used by people because they want, not because someone tells them to.
Although you're kind of forcing me to use it right now to get a coffee, aren't you?
Well, you are free to buy or not from us, so nobody telling you buy here.
Wait. Well, you can do that anywhere. Can't you? Can't you? Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. I don't know.
So I just completed my first transaction using cryptocurrency.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, strange feeling.
For coffee.
It's not just simple purchases. Liberlanders want to use crypto's blockchain technology to run the country.
So all the key institutions which Liberland wants to take care of will be all running on an immutable system.
So how do you want to take this technology from cryptocurrencies and apply it to governance?
Well, we are using it for voting in Liberland, so it's immutable. We are using it for our justice system. Our Congress will be running on it, our Senate will be running on it, and you will be able to do all your things that you need to do as a citizen.
Can you give me a concrete example of how that would work? Like something that I do, in the United States, how would it work in Liberland using blockchain technology?
Well, there will be no discussion about the results of the vote like there was in the United States. Everybody can basically make sure that nobody has cheated in the election. The same thing is in voting inside of Congress. Liberland Congress will be also using the same technology.
Explain the idea behind the merit tokens and how you plan to use those in the governance of Liberland.
If you pay taxes, you get merits. And I think it's a nice name for the fact that you have supported your country. And these merits can be used for voting.
So let me get this straight. The more taxes I pay, the more tokens I'm going to receive?
Yes.
Oh my god! Oh my god! The rich people are gonna be bawling! Oh my god! This is how libertarianism works, by the way. They don't want poor people to have a vote. If you're struggling here, there is nothing for you to gain. Why would you allow this nation to exist if you're not rich yourself? Like, what's the incentive? Why would we legitimize it?
Isn't that unfairly giving people with more money more power in the system?
I think it's much fairer than trying to give everybody the same amount of vote.
Really? Because that seems to be a fundamental part of most Western democracies, the idea of one man or one person, one vote.
Yeah,
You disagree with that?
I think it's fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, I'm a fascist. Yeah. No, I don't want people to vote. If poor people get to vote, who knows what will happen? Maybe they'll make lives better for themselves. And we can't have that, can we? No. Imagine this system in the US, how Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and and all the lower level billionaires, if there's such a thing, Michael Bloomberg. Imagine those people. They'd be able to run the shit show themselves. But how don't they own? How much of the U.S. capital do they own? And honestly, in the U.S., poor people don't even pay, or working class people don't even pay federal income tax. Only the rich do that. So the poor people, the working class people, the poor people, the even middle class people wouldn't even be allowed to have a say in how the nation is run in the US. Imagine. Like, holy fuck. Honestly, in that kind of system, I don't even think they'd want poor people to pay a cent or a satoshi in taxes to the government, just so that they can rule without hindrance.
If you paid $20 million in taxes, you still have one vote, right? And that's one of the things that are a little bit broken about the systems that we are living in. It's very important to do it that the majority of society cannot dictate the minority, especially the minority which actually pay the taxes and
wait.
Important to do it that the majority of society cannot dictate the minority, especially the minority which actually pay the taxes and made the country possible.
But you want the minority. You don't want the majority to dictate what happens with the money because the majority don't pay the taxes. You want the minority to dictate what happens to the majority. Like, he's explicitly talking about fascism. It's he's out in the open.
Liberland does have a lot of the fixings of a real nation. A flag, a motto, an anthem, even their own wine. They also have architects dreaming up the future of the island.
Oh yeah, sure.
Technological metropolis.
Oh my god. Oh, could you imagine?
They also have...
Oh, look. This is what I'm talking... I hate architects. I fucking hate them. What is this? What am I looking at? Round buildings? In what corner should I place the sofa? Where should I have my TV? On what wall will the TV be? They are stupid.
Have architects dreaming up the future of the island. A technological metropolis, rivaled by few cities in the world. But perhaps its biggest issue, this isn't Liberland. Liberland is a floodplain a few miles away with zero infrastructure. And the Croatian Border Patrol will arrest anyone who goes there. But the threat of arrest wasn't going to stop these Liberlanders from the festival's rousing climax. A float to the island that gave many their first glimpse of their new self-declared
Battlefield 24. as soon as that gets old and dirty, it's the ugliest thing you could imagine. Yeah. I mean, ugh.
Listen to me.
What the?
Please,
What is this?
all of you, go out from this boat. Because we are sinking. Do you understand?
And a sinking boat wouldn't stop them either. Right now, Vit, the president of Liberland, is going to put us on these boats, and we're going to go and visit this small island in the Danube River that he is claiming as Liberland, the new country.
Jump on.
Let's go. All right. You know what you're doing? You know how to drive a boat?
I have license for
Okay, good.
9 years now.
All right.
If Liberland actually existed, there would be zero chance that you'd need a license as the president to drive a boat. Yeah, too many people on the boat. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. No, you need to get off. No, fuck you. We're libertarians. Don't tell us what to do.
Where are we right now? Is that Croatia?
That's Croatia. That's
So
Serbia.
okay, so that's Croatia, that's Serbia. It must be hard building a nation that you need a speedboat to access.
It's still much easier than starting a country, for example, in the middle of Atlantic Ocean.
True.
This is just a 10-minute boat ride. We're quite fast now, it's around 70 kilometers per hour. It's a nice ride.
But one boat of pioneers had a far from easy voyage. We have some stranded Liberlanders here, huh? We got a paddle. Do you guys need an extra paddle?
Then I think we will have to pull you back to that beach over there. How long ago did you depart? Stranded
We've been
for a
out
long
here for
time.
hours.
I think you
You're so
guys
fucking
need to
dorky.
untie yourself, yes, and if it's not working, we have to figure out why it's not working.
Just as the boat neared the promised land, the colonizers were met by the
dorks.
Croatian border guard. Hey, we got the police. Right here. So Vit, can you describe what's happening right now? It seems like we got the
We need to find
Croatian
out who these
police.
guys are. Yeah, let's talk to them.
All right. Are they trying to get us to stop here?
No, I want to talk to them.
Okay. All right. So we've just reached
Dobar dan.
the land of Liberland, and we're being stopped now by Croatian
No, we're not.
border
We're
police.
not being stopped. We're not being stopped. Actually, they,
Okay. Just saying hello. All right. So we're not being stopped.
What?
Do the Croatian authorities ever give you a hard time when you're trying to reach Liberland?
Well, they are guarding Liberland quite well. I appreciate it.
Are they protecting in the sense of protecting the security of Liberlanders, or are they protecting it in the sense of trying to stop you from reaching there?
Well, they are actually doing both at the same time. That's the fun part. This boa, this green boa, and that side is a border of Liberland. We are entering Liberland.
So we've now entered your
Liberland
country.
waters. Liberland waters, yes.
This
We're
is
here.
Liberland.
Yes.
Like this guy loves corruption. Because that's all the Liberland is. It's legitimized corruption, or the attempt to legitimize corruption. Like there's nothing else. The more money you pay, the more vote you have, is ripe for corruption.
By the way, that's actually, this part is dedicated for the cemetery of Liberland. That's where my ancestors are buried.
They no. What do you mean?
We did a ceremony.
You've actually taken your ancestors' remains and buried them here?
Ashes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Susanna.
I couldn't tell you. This tells me so much about this guy, because I couldn't tell you where my great-grandfather is buried even. I can't tell you that. I can tell you where my grandmother is buried. I can tell you where my grandfather is buried. But great-grandfather, great-grandmother, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. My ancestors? I don't give a fuck about ancestry. Who the fuck cares? But that tells me a lot about where his mind is.
As one of Liberland's newest residents, new citizens, how does it feel to see Liberland for the first time?
I feel like I came home.
I'm
so blessed.
It feels like home even though you can't really access it or live there or rent an apartment.
Yeah, I can imagine I will be live here in
No, no, you can't. Stop it. Stop it.
Quite some time ago, there was this tough guy from the local police and said, Liberland is just a imagination.
Yeah.
And I said, all countries are virtual concepts. They're nothing but imaginary concepts that we are creating in our heads.
Which is true.
I think it's a kind of the moral story of Liberland, right?
Which is true. But Liberland is more of just an imagination. Like nobody recognizes it. That's the difference. Nobody recognizes this. Everybody recognizes other countries. Well, not all countries. So.
And the more people, of course, believe in that cause, the more powerful that cause is.
Yeah, but you need other governments, specifically Croatia and Serbia, to recognize it, because it's one of them control that part of the land. You need them to recognize it.
I believe that the constitution that we have made has combined the best elements of existing constitutions with the best element of blockchain technology.
We are defining the future of free countries on this planet.
Obviously, Liberland is just one example of people getting crypto rich and getting a little ahead of themselves with what they can dream up. But they're not wrong about nation states being imaginary. It's just that whatever they replace them with risks having the same issues. Motherboard's Edward Ongweso Jr. and urban researcher Jillian Crandall are joining me to talk about how that might already be happening. Thank you guys both for joining me. Obviously, Liberland is a thing. It's happening in the real world too, if you want to talk about Liberland not being the real world. But tell me about Liberland, Jillian. Like, what is it? What are these people after? And what does it mean?
Right. Well, my understanding is that this is essentially a crypto anarcho-capitalist nation come perhaps true. My understanding also is that it really stems from the foundation of a very explicit tax haven from the EU, that people who are self-proclaimed techno-libertarians, right libertarians, come together and form their own community.
In Liberland, it's not one vote, one person. It's like how much crypto you have equals how many votes you have. The best reading of that from my mind is like, that's kind of how it works in the world anyway. Like if you have a bunch of money, like you get to control politics in a way that you or I who don't have a bunch of money can anyhow. And it could be, it's very odious to think like, oh, if you have a bunch of money, then you have more power and more votes. That's like a shitty way of organizing society. I think we can all kind of agree on that. But is there something refreshing about hearing someone say, this is actually going to be what the way our country works is if you have more money, you got more political power.
If they're transparent about that, then I suppose you can choose whether or not to be a part of that system. Where I get concerned is where these systems are being rolled out as a techno fix for a more efficient governance system that allows its citizens to participate in a voting structure that is being told is a very democratic voting structure. We're just increasing efficiencies because it's using computational technologies and using the blockchain, which is a very transparent, trustless system. People might say, yeah, absolutely, I want to get behind that. I like how that sounds, but maybe not understand that it's really the more tokens you have, the more votes you have, the more pull you have.
Yeah, and I would also say, you know, like in the United States, there's always been a huge, of course, gulf between the rhetoric and the reality. You have a country founded with words about equality for all by slave owners, right?
Yeah.
And you can argue that the rhetoric, at least some of the people convinced themselves they believed it and tried to push for shifts in the system that might realize whatever it is that they thought that they believed about liberty or equality. But in the crypto communities, I think it's more of like a Trojan horse or more of like a thing to appeal to people where the understanding they all have is that they are not trying to build like some society where everyone is equal. They're trying to build a society where there's more power given to corporations or to individuals with a lot of money, and with like some billionaire's fever dream about like what society should look like.
It's not about the
Yeah. Okay, I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this. Let's talk about a successful, somewhat at least, nation, anarchist nation called Christiania. I know I've talked about it before, but apparently I didn't do a video on it, so I'll just include it here. Let's just see. I haven't watched this video, but it's a short video, so let's watch and see what they say, and I'll fill in the gaps that I know of. Okay, so that's a nice intro to Christiania. To fill in the blanks, Christiania it started in the 70s, where hippies would just squat on government property, actually. Let's see if I can bring up a map. And let's do that. And let's go like this. So you can see this line here. That's Christiania. All of this. I don't know about the waters. Maybe the waters are not considered Christiania. So maybe. But there's a bridge here that the upkeep is done by Christiania as well. But this used to be. You can see the strange. What's it called? The strange what the fuck? What is it called? Beach line? Is that what it's called? I'm gonna say beach line. It's due to it being an old military base. This used to be a military base back in the ye old days. And the government had, can we go in here? A little bit. Yeah, okay, that's just. Okay, so you can see these buildings. These are barracks. These are old barracks that squatters took over. There's the spire, the church they talked about. Here you can see some more modern buildings. Maybe they are from the 70s, perhaps. But yeah, squatters just took over these buildings at first, and then they wandered out from there. And eventually, they got... Oh, we're back there. A fuck ton more. Can I? Okay. So you have here, this is a skateboard park inside here. You have some ramps in here as well. Right behind here, I believe, is Pusher Street. Let's see if there's some... Okay, we're still there. Where is... So down there is Pusher Street, where they sell marijuana. Oh, I can actually walk here. Okay. Can I get here? I believe this is the main entrance that we saw earlier with the sign. Get there. Yeah, there you have it. Christiania. You just walk down there, and there's Pusher Street. Here are the barracks. And it's really, really interesting architecture. And there's a lot of, I mean, even if you don't smoke, because smoking in Denmark is actually illegal, it's criminal. You're not allowed to carry marijuana. You're not allowed to smoke it. You're not allowed to consume it in any way, shape, or form. But it's a gray zone inside Christiania. Christiania does not care. The police will do raids in Christiania, but they will target the pushers, not the buyers. Don't bring it outside, though, I would say. That's a recipe for something bad. But even if you do not smoke or consume in some form marijuana, even if, you should still go visit Christiania if you have the opportunity. It is just the architecture of this place. Oh, here's a bird's eye view. Can I not right click? Oh my god, I hate these pages. Here's the rules inside Christiania. Oh yeah, that's a grower. There's a grower. Okay, yeah, we can look at this page. These are built by the locals, these buildings. Just look at this. This is paradise. It's just so interesting. This is what I like. This is the kind of architecture if you're gonna build high sky rises, you want was it Christian? If you're gonna build more apartment buildings, I like this. This is fantastic in my opinion. But if you're gonna build homes, I like this. This is interesting. This has some, this has some character. But yeah, just walking around Christiania is actually very rewarding in and of itself. You'll always come by a new home with some wacky ideas about how to build. And it's built in sections often. You can see here, no, not there. Oh yeah, and there's murals like this all over the place. They have their own school for, I don't think they have, I think K to maybe 3rd grade, maybe. I'm not sure how high up. They don't have like high school or anything like that. For that, they go into general society. But pre-K, absolutely, and kindergarten and stuff like that. There's a specific building that I'm looking for. No. But okay, so anyway, maybe it's this one actually, maybe. But we can use these as examples. What they do, this is perfect example. What they do is the first generation moved in and they built their buildings to a certain standard, and then the next generation took over, and what they did was they went, I want something bigger. So they just built houses on top of the houses. So it's just houses on houses on houses in some places. And it looks wacky, but it works like this. Like the first person probably just had this. And then someone came and built this, and maybe it's the same person, or maybe it's their kids. And they built this, and yeah, I love this. Like the colors, and it's just, you allow the artistic freedom truly to be built. Not the corporate freedom like we saw with Liberland, where it's all just round buildings. Nobody wants that, except maniacs. So Denmark have attempted. Yeah, here's an overview of Christiania. You can walk all the way here, but then you have to turn around and walk all the way back. And the saying goes, these, let's see here, open image. These areas are closer communities, like they are closer built together. Here is where all the craziest buildings are. These are more apartments, I'd say, smaller homes up here. It's just really, really nice. Yeah, they have an outdoors stadium where bands actually perform. They have a cafe, which is lovely. You can't smoke inside it though. Yeah, it's just lovely. I wish there were more of these places. But how does it function? That's it. The architecture is interesting and I like it, but how does it function? That's the crux of the matter. Why will Liberland fall apart and never work and never gain traction, while Christiania has stood since the 70s? And the main reason for that is because they didn't start off as an anarchist society. It grew into an anarchist society. They started off as squatters who just wanted some place to shoot up, who didn't have money to pay for housing. And this was at the same time as I told you earlier in the stream about Gothenburg and in the 70s, where everybody moved out on the countryside. And then they went, why are we commuting into the city when we can live in the city in all of these nice houses that the poors have bought? So they started buying up those places. And then some more time went on, and they said, why are the bums squatting on government property? Because like I said, that used to be a military base. Why are the bums squatting there? We can buy that and build amazing apartments for rich people. And the squatters went, oh, no, you're not. The police attempted for years to throw people out. For years. But the squatters always just came back. They threw one squatter in jail, another one took his place. Eventually, they stopped doing that. Eventually, they grew tired. Because where were the squatters going to go? Nowhere. Nowhere. They had nowhere else to be if they wanted to be in the city. And they've already claimed this place. So they stayed. And that, I believe, is the crucial difference between Liberland and Christiania. Liberland people have anywhere else to be. Like anywhere. They can go anywhere in the world. And they will be welcomed with open arms. They just can't have their rule of government. As long as they pay taxes, they're allowed to be there. Because they have the dough for it. That's why they won't be squatting on Liberland for decades in order to make it legitimate. The squatters in Christiania, on the other hand, had nowhere else to be. So where else would they squat? Where else would they live? So they stayed. And they always came back. No matter how many times they tried to throw them out, they always came back. And eventually the buildings were so dilapidated, they had been so it had been so long that nobody wanted to be there anymore. The government just said, fuck it, we don't care. But we don't like the drugs. But eventually, even that, the government stopped cracking down on. Even that. And that's been within my lifetime. So it wasn't until, I believe, early 2000s, they had like this major bust on the drug trade within Christiania. Like, I believe people went and to hospitals and stuff, like cops. 2009, it looks like. It is crazy that you never heard of Christiania before, Terror Freak. Aren't you Swedish? I believe you're Swedish, Terror Freak. You should have known about this. In 2009, there was a major crackdown in Christiania on the drug trade there. And there was a period where there were no trade of drugs within Christiania after that. Oh, you're German. Still, neighboring country. You should know about this. There was a period where there were no drug trade within Christiania after that. What happened, though, was Christiania themselves took actions, because I think before 2009 you could trade any drugs within Christiania. After 2009, they made a hard rule: only marijuana. Maybe you can get some mushrooms, maybe, but those are not sold openly. You can only buy cannabis openly. And if the locals see anyone trade anything else, they will enact their own justice on you. They will take you out the back, and you will never be allowed back in. That's how the laws work there. So now, today, there are still crackdowns happening because Denmark still doesn't allow it. However, it's few and far. I've seen the cops there when I was there, but they didn't crack down on anything. And what happens if we go to... let me just show you how it looks. So first of all, here we have a paraphernalia shop. There are no drugs sold here. It's just paraphernalia. Rolling paper and pre-rolled papers and stuff like that. Pipes, if you want. Here you have... no, that's not it either. Let's open that one. I want to see... okay, sure. So here you have open selling of cannabis inside Pusher Street. Openly. Completely open. They have like boxes that they just stand on so that they can just ditch if the police comes, what they do is they have 3 people. This is my general assessment of the place. There might be more, but they all know each other. It wouldn't surprise me if they're from the same gang. So they have like one middle person, and then 3 or 4, maybe 5 people that he goes between. The middle person's job is to hold all the money. So if you go up to someone and you pay them more, with more money than what you're buying, they will have to go to the middle person for exchange, because they don't hold that much money. They hold the weed. If the police comes, the middle person's job is to just pound it. Just run as fast as you can, as far as you can, away from the place. That's his job. Because the money talks. These people, they will probably gather up their drugs, or if they can, and just try to run as well. But yeah, that they will probably get caught because they have the weed. They won't probably not run to the same place even. They probably have predestined places to run towards, so they don't run to the same place. Here is the entrance to Pusher Street. Outside of this area, there is 0 tolerance for selling drugs. You can consume drugs, but you can't sell. Selling is only allowed within this area. And as you can see here, there is no photography allowed even. I was here, and I saw some Swedish, like the most Swedish looking motherfucker you can think of, walking around with a cell phone taking pictures. So a guy with sunglasses and a balaclava walked up to him. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he demanded to see the pictures. And the guy, the Swede, being a stupid motherfucker, because he's never been around criminals before, because they are criminals. These are gang people. He thought, I'll just put my phone down and say I'm sorry, I didn't know, and walk away. That's what he thought. That person had nothing of it, would have none of it. He's like, no. Show me the pictures. Show me what you've done. And I saw this happening, and I peered into the future and realized if I don't step in here and help this guy, he's gonna get murdered. No, probably not. What would have happened is he would have gotten his phone smashed. So I stepped in to try and mediate. And I told him, show him the phone and just let him delete the photos. So the guy did. And I got thanked by 2 people. The person who confronted him, and then some other guy who stood guard around here. But yeah, that's... Don't take pictures here. They don't want to be in photos. At all. There's a reason there's a sign here. There's a reason for that. How does government, governing in Christiania work then? Because the squatters of Libra have an idea about how to govern using crypto. They think they can use crypto to make everyone aware of the outcome without question. That's not going to happen. There's always going to be questions. We've seen scammers use crypto. We've seen people get scammed in crypto. We've seen intrusions. There have been frauds, etc., etc. There's not going to be. That's not how it works. In Christiania, how they do things is it has to be unanimous. unanimous. That's a bit too far for my taste. I don't believe in unanimity, if that's a word. I don't think that's a good way of governing, but that's the anarchist way. If you don't want it, you shouldn't have it. Period. So everyone has to be unanimous in their decisions, and that means decisions can take years to come to, which is just horrible. Horrible, absolutely horrible. It's the worst part of Christiania, in my opinion. However, everyone is allowed to voice their opinion. Everyone has one vote. I don't know how old they are when they get to vote. Maybe they're 16, maybe they're even younger. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they were like 12 when they were allowed to vote. But I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. But yeah, that's why Christiania has succeeded and is now kind of legitimate inside Denmark, inside Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. And why Liberland will never succeed. They're too rich to even attempt it. If they wanted to, they could. They could. If they kept going back to that land, eventually the government would tire. Because it's worthless, that land. Worthless. They wouldn't care eventually. Christiania has become a bit too legitimate. They have a foundation now with Copenhagen, where, because you don't pay property taxes inside Christiania. Like, who do you pay to? The city of Copenhagen has relinquished the area. They lay claim to it, but I mean, what are they gonna do? It's been too long. But now they've come to an agreement where they will pay, instead of paying property taxes to the government, they will pay property taxes into a foundation. Every single person in there, I believe it's property tax, at least, to get a foundation whose purpose is to upkeep Christiania. That's the agreement they've come to. It's legitimizing it, but I think it's legitimizing it in the wrong way, in my opinion. It wouldn't ever happen, because what government would recognize Christiania? But I would like to see some governments just go, yeah, Christiania, that's a country. They should have representation in the UN, of course. But sadly, no, that's never gonna happen. Ever. But yeah, that's Christiania for you. That's just openly selling, openly smoking. Happy to do it. It's a unique place. And Terra Freak, if you're ever in Denmark, if you're ever in Copenhagen, you need to visit Christiania. Like, it's a unique place that I'm afraid will disappear one day. Like, not if, but when Denmark legalizes, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's not gonna be hard. It's gonna make Christiania lose a good bit of tourism. And I think there's more to Christiania than just the cannabis. Like, even if Denmark legalizes and I visit, not that I ever would, mother, or the state. Actually, the state can't do a shit. The Swedish state. There's been a new ruling from our highest court, actually, on that part. If you smoke inside Christiania, the state can't do shit about it in Sweden, even if you have it in your system when you come back. Apparently, there's a new ruling for that. I like it. I like it. Anyway, but I would never. But even if Denmark would legalize, and I would visit, I would still like to go to Christiania, because it's such a unique place. You will cycle through there on your tour to Sweden, Terra Freak? Awesome. Absolutely visit, without a doubt. Unfortunately, they don't have... I would like to see a hostel inside Christiania. I think that would be an amazing place. But there are cheap hotels not that far off, actually. I think. I don't know. Please don't. Please don't. But yeah, no, go. Even if you don't smoke, go visit. It's well worth the time. I've only scratched the surface of the uniqueness of the place. And as I said, it's gonna be... It might disappear in the future. It might, which would be sad.